Hi, my name is Amy. I teach Kundalini Yoga, and today we're going to be doing a breath meditation called Pranayama Series 1. But before we get started, I want to share a few things with you that have helped me. And these are aspects of self-love and self-care. And we are not really living in a society that understands or supports doing things that are in your highest good. In fact, a lot of us get raised in families where we have really limiting beliefs instilled in us, and we grow up thinking, whatever it is for you, like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, money is really hard to come by, I'm not smart enough, I don't know how to do these things, you have to be this kind of person to be able to do that. And, I think that because our evolution is that of trying to be safe, because when we were like cavemen or whatever, we had to stay alive. We had to not get eaten by a wild animal or a poisonous berry. So in our evolution, we have been designed to stay alive and be safe. But we don't live in a world anymore where we need to worry about eating poisonous berries or getting eaten by a wild animal. We now live in a world that you don't really need to worry about those things. Safety is already there. You can go to the doctor. You can figure out, if you need antibiotics, you can do that. You can eat healthy. So I think you don't need to think like that anymore. You don't need to live like that anymore. And what I have found is discovering a part of yourself that is much more powerful and bigger than that scared, having to kind of be in fear, be safe part of your evolution that you don't really need anymore. Of course you need to be safe. Of course we need to be aware of danger and things. And, that's why we have the fight or flight response. But unfortunately, so many of us are living in that fight or flight, in the sympathetic nervous system too much. And that's also why we're doing things like Kundalini Yoga, is to get out of that and start to understand what it feels like to be in the rest and recovery mode of ourselves. And so one of the most helpful things that I did, and it was also one of the most painful things for me as well, when I reached a point in my life where I thought I was completely falling apart. I knew that I had to make some real serious changes in myself and in my environment. And one of the most important things that I did, that I think others can do too, is identifying your limiting beliefs and identifying your negative mind and realizing that that is trying to keep you in a pattern that's familiar and repetitive and comfortable, even though it's self-destructive, even though it's toxic, even though it's never going to allow you to grow and expand into your highest version. What needs to happen is you need to become aware of the unconscious things in your mind and in your emotions that keep you stuck in a negative wheel of, I guess, I don't want to say failure, but kind of repeating the same thing over and over again, where you're never able to really experience true joy or happiness or contentment. And so when you start to become aware of your patterns, and one of the patterns for me was getting into unhealthy relationships and feeling like I needed to be loved and validated. And if I was loved and validated by external and by people, then I was okay. Then I was okay. And I realized, like, wow, that has been a huge, massive struggle for me my whole life. And when you start to realize your pattern that started keeping you, miserable, unhappy, and being successful in your life, then you have to start doing something to change it. And one of the best things I did was eliminating toxic relationships, one-sided relationships, and sitting with the pain of that. I had a few very painful experiences, and they were really important people to me, and I had to let that go because it was not serving me at all. I was never going to be happy. I was always sad. I was constantly in a sad, why state of mind. And so when you start to get rid of, I don't really know how else to say it, but get rid of people who are not good for you and connections that are not good for you, and you start to understand that internal need or that internal desire to have these toxic connections because in some way it feels like it's validating you, that's when you really step into your power, because then you can really start to see yourself for how valuable you are, how worthy you are, and how much you were not actually seeing yourself. And when you do start healing, when you do start changing, when you do start putting yourself first and putting your alignment first, realizing that your inner life, your world, the way you feel about yourself, the relationship that you have with yourself, controlling your mind, the thoughts, the feelings, becoming aware of the unconscious aspects of yourself that have been giving you trouble, people will start to kind of not really like that about you because you're different now. You're not trying to people please anymore. You're not trying to show up for somebody who wants you to, you're not trying to show up for people anymore because for the way you think they perceive you. And when you start doing that, people start to not know what to do about it anymore. And so your close relationships can start to kind of, fade away, or distance happens, or it just starts to feel uncomfortable. And, you're not making yourself small anymore to make other people feel comfortable. And when you put your healing and you put your heart and you put your happiness first, then it's threatening to those who don't want to put the same work in that you're doing to become the healthiest, happiest, most aligned version of themselves. You become a threat. You become a nuisance. You become annoying and all these things. But I'm telling you, once you start doing this, once you start taking care of your mind and of your heart and getting honest with yourself, recognizing your own dysfunction and your own toxic nature and your own limiting beliefs about yourself, and you start to grow and expand and become this really amazing version of yourself, and you really start liking who you are, and you really start loving who you are, and you stop making yourself small to make other people feel like they can relate to you, or you stop making yourself like, looking for validation and looking for approval from other people. It really doesn't fucking matter. The only thing that matters is if you love yourself, if you like yourself, and if the people in your life are also healthy, supportive, looking to be the best version of themselves people too. And when you start to disconnect from those old relationships, you start to send out the signal that I am not available anymore for drama, for chaos. I am now putting myself, my health first, and I'm creating alignment in my mind, my heart, my body, and my spirituality. And if people don't like that, it is not your business. It's none of your business what other people think of you. What is your business is taking care of yourself and doing the things that are actually good for you and right for you, and showing up to your life with authenticity from your true nature, not from an aspect of what somebody told you that you are. And once you start to realize that you don't need anybody else's approval except your own, you don't need to get anybody to respect you. You just need to respect yourself and approve of yourself and do the things that are going to build up your character and your caliber. Next is learning to take care of your physical health. Start eating properly. Get rid of all the bullshit food. You know, I know that there's some people dealing with addictions, and it's hard, but you can do it. And when you do this, you need to not just go from like one thing that you were using to numb your pain to another thing that's like going to numb your pain, but it may not be as bad as the thing you were doing before, but it's still harming you. The whole point is getting out of the cycle of harming yourself. And you are harming yourself when you are eating, fast food. You're harming yourself when you are not going to sleep on time. You're harming yourself every time you have a glass of alcohol. And this is where another aspect of self-love and self-care comes into, is looking at your body as a vehicle. This is a gift that we have to be in this body and to be living this life. This is what we have right now. We are in this life, in this body, in this moment. And this is something that will be over probably much faster than we realize. So my intention for myself is to spend and live out the rest of my life with the highest quality and with love for myself and my fellow human being, and to honor and respect my life as a gift. And when you start coming from that angle, your whole perspective shifts and you start seeing things from a place of like, wow, this really is important and I really want to make the most out of this. When you start to align yourself with your highest good, with the highest version of yourself, that becomes your priority. The health of your body, your mental health, your emotional health. And when you start to take care of yourself the way you need to, and when you start honoring your life, you become an example for other people who are also wanting to do the same thing, or that need to do the same thing but feel like they can't. So the more people that come into this, I don't know, what do you call it? Into this alignment, into this, once you start coming into realizing that you want to live from the highest version of yourself, and you start taking the steps and the actions to reach that, you start to become an example for other people, and you start to become an example for the youth. And that's really the only way that we can change this whole dynamic in the world. There's nothing that you can do to change another person. There's nothing you can do to make somebody be what you want them to be. There's nothing you can do to, you know, decide something for someone else's life. The only thing that you can do is you. So the only thing that we have control over in life is our thoughts, our actions, our responses, and our attitude. And when you realize that, you become liberated, because then you don't have to, you realize, I don't have control over the outcome of anybody else's situation. I can't change another person, because nobody could ever force you to change. You have to be the one to take that initiative. And when you start to realize that your power is within you and it's about what you do with your life, it's very liberating. And so, yeah, start to eat healthy food. Get out of the addictions. Get out of the addictive foods. Stop eating the fast food. Start realizing that you need to support your body with foods that's going to help you to recover, that's going to nourish your system, that's going to give you the vitamins and the minerals that you need to function properly. When you're not eating right, when you're having a bad diet and you're eating crappy food, it's affecting your mind. It's affecting like your depression, your anxiety, and it's just a terrible thing. So realize that you need to nourish your body and fuel it with food that is going to support and nourish your health. And stop with negative self-talk. It's like, if you have nothing nice to say to yourself, don't say anything at all. Okay? Like, I used to say terrible things to myself. I used to think terrible things. And when you start to respect yourself and you start to realize your own worth and your own value, you will stop thinking about yourself in a negative way, and you will stop having negative self-talk. And also get rid of all the shit that you don't need anymore. Clear out clutter. If it doesn't bring you joy, get rid of it. There's a great book called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. The author is Marie Kondo. It's a great book. Her philosophy is, if it's not bringing you joy, then get rid of it. You don't need it. We collect so much stuff that we don't need. And when you start to eliminate material things and relationships and energies and thoughts that you don't need anymore and food that's bad for you, you start to open yourself up to a whole new universe. And it is life-changing, but you have to stay committed and dedicated to your growth and change to become the highest, happiest, healthiest version of yourself. Learn how to live life. Go for a walk and look at the beauty around you. Take in the sunshine. Show up and realize, like, just being out in nature is such a beautiful gift. It's what an experience to go and see the animals, or to go to a beautiful park or a beach or something. You know, that's where I think humanity gets lost sometimes, is by how we start to value grind culture, and, you know, that whole thing where you have to hustle all the time, and you totally lose sight of that's of real value. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, going off and having a goal or wanting to have some kind of career, whatever it is. There's nothing wrong with that. You should want to find some level of success that brings you some kind of satisfaction and fulfillment in your life. You know, take time to enjoy the small things in life. Take time to enjoy the good connections that you have with people, the great conversations, the day in nature, the animal that you have, the walk in the afternoon, the sunset. Because someday we're not going to have these bodies, and we're not going to be able to experience those things anymore in this form. So live and enjoy it while you can. And also remain in the spirit of gratitude. I know it's cliche, but gratitude is an energy that is going to keep you going. It's going to keep you motivated, even when you're in your darkest hour. If you can find gratitude in something, you will be okay. It will help you to lift yourself up. It will help you to be happy. So wake up in the morning and say thank you. And throughout the day, or for if you have a really nice encounter with somebody, or if you see a rainbow, or if you see something beautiful, just stop for a moment and feel it and be like, thank you. Have gratitude for that, because those types of things are what is also going to start changing the energy within you, is reintroducing all of these like good things into your life. And we're trying to get out of that fear mindset and out of the anxiety and out of the worry and out of our head, and we're trying to get back into our body and back into reality, what's happening in front of us right now. And all the things in our head, all the worries, all the struggles, all the anxiety, all the nonsense that we create in our mind, it's just that. It's in your mind. It hasn't happened. What's happening is what's going on right now. What's going on in this moment is what's actually happening. You know, you can sit there all day and watch the news and commiserate with other people about how terrible the world is, or you can show up to your life with gratitude and the willingness to live and enjoy what's happening right now in front of you. So we're going to start our meditation for today, and we're going to be doing Pranayama Series 1. And this breath meditation has 3 different breaths. And the first breath that we're going to be doing today is the breath of fire again. And for those of you who don't know what the breath of fire is, it is a fundamental breath in Kundalini Yoga that we use. It's very powerful. It's used for cleansing, invigorating, energizing. It helps clear the lungs of toxins, and it just makes you feel really good. So the way we do this breath is it's a panting breath. So it's like the easiest way to learn how to do this breath is just by panting. So it's like, and then you close your mouth and you do that through your nose. And you'll notice that the belly is moving quickly and rhythmically back in and out. And on the exhale, it's a very quick snap back to the spine. And then on the short inhale, the belly just relaxes out. So it's very easy once you get the hang of it. We'll be here for 3 minutes, but first we are going to tune in with our mantra, Om Namo Gurudev Namo. I bow to the divine wisdom within me and the creator of all. So when we're chanting this mantra, we are aligning ourselves with our higher power, with our highest self or your higher self, or with God, whatever that means to you. So to begin the mantra, bring your hands together in prayer pose at your hearts. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply. Begin with me. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Inhale for the second round. Om Namo Gurudev suspend the breath. Exhale. And to start, you're going to bring your hands into Gyan Mudra. So the first finger and the thumb will be touching. Arms are straight and your chest is lifted and your hips are like grounded. You're really grounded into the ground. You're creating a little bit of space in your abdomen area. This is also going to make the breath a little bit easier. So we're going to begin and we'll be here for 3 minutes. Now, inhale deeply and hold the breath for 30 seconds. I'll tell you when to release. Exhale. Next, we're just going to begin long, deep breathing. We're going to stay with our hands in Gyan Mudra, spine straight, neck in alignment with the spine as you do this. And you're going to inhale so deeply into your lungs that your rib cage is going to expand a few inches. Take in as much air as you can. On the exhale, exhale completely. Exhale all the air out. and we will be here for 3 minutes. Inhale deeply and hold the breath for 15 seconds. Exhale. Next breath in this series is going to be breathing in through puckered lips and exhaling through the nose. We will be here for 3 minutes. deeply. Hold the breath. Exhale. Next breath, we're going to do breath of fire to end. We'll be here for 2 minutes. Inhale deeply and hold the breath for as long as is comfortable for you, and exhale. Now we're going to meditate for a minute on the natural flow of your breath. And while you're doing this, feel the energy radiate throughout your body. And that concludes our breath meditation for the day. So let's go ahead and close out with our long Satnam. Truth is my identity. So bring your hands into prayer pose at your hearts. Inhale deeply. Sa. Nam. Thank you for showing up again. And all of you go and have a beautiful day and go live. Enjoy. See you in the next video.